back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is gonna be all about the books that I've read and just a little bit of an update because I've been reading for the past few months only fantasy. So let's get into it. Okay, so I think that the first time that I remember grabbing my first fantasy book, it was like a couple of months back. I think in the beginning of June, or no, in the end of June when I went to Toronto to see Niall Horan. And prior to this book, ACOTAR, I hadn't read any fantasy, only romance novels. I'd say that the genre that I like the most is romance novels, but with reading fantasy and like adventure but also still romance, it's been really fun to kind of develop my reading preferences. Also, today is Friday the 15th, and on Fridays my friend Kat in Wonderland over on her stream, she does like every Friday PJ day. So I was like, you know what, we're gonna be in our pajamas as well. And I kind of didn't think that I would be filming this video right now. I just finished editing my life update video, so if you guys haven't checked that one out, to do so. It's probably going to be out by the time I post this video. I wanted to just like give you for this video like a overall like kind of summary of the books that I've read in the beginning of the year. I don't think this year I don't remember reading that much. Actually, no, I lied to you. The first fantasy book that I've read was not ACOTAR. It's actually The Cruel Prince. I started to read that like with the book version, physical copy. I finished the first book and I was really wanting to read the second and third, but then I kind of got into a book slump. I remember reading that and telling you guys a little bit about it in my Eclipse Day and book reading vlog. That series is like the first one that I actually read fantasy wise. I'm not gonna lie, I was confused from time to time reading that book because the world building in fantasy, if you guys have never read fantasy, it's more complex than the non-fantasy books because literally it's a world that doesn't really exist, and being able to kind of get a sense and understand where the characters are and where this whole book takes place is really important for me to like kind of be able to visualize. So but I love that they have maps also in the beginning of the books. Most of the ones that I've read have like a map in the beginning, but yeah, so I've read The Cruel Prince. So I think I started Cruel Prince in April, and then I finished it and then went to do The Wicked King. I made it to chapter 4 and then didn't really pick it up afterwards. I think the term to say like I picked it up, read, and then didn't finish it would be like DNF. I'm gonna have to do more research. Still getting into being a book reader, you know? Yeah, so and then in May, I remember getting into reading Fourth Wing, not on my Kindle, but on Audible. It's crazy how like time just like flew by. Yeah, so since this video is more like of a recap to let you guys know at what point I'm in the fantasy world, so that in the future, if I do decide to give my opinion, talk about certain books, you guys will know which one I've read. Also, I do want to create videos separately for separate books or give my opinions and thoughts on like ACOTAR, for example. I'm wanting to have a video on its own. So I've read The Cruel Prince, the first one, and then Wicked King. And I know that there's a third one to that series. After that, I read the first book and then Iron Flame, but I didn't finish Iron Flame. Those two books, I was reading it or listening to it on Audible, but didn't finish Iron Flame, and because I know that there's going to be a third one coming out, but like I don't know when I was reading this book, it was like in May, and I think I heard like Onyx something, the third book of the series, coming out in like January 2025. So now that I'm closer, it's like that's crazy that when I stopped reading or like listening to the audiobook, it was because I didn't want it to end because I liked it so much. After that, June came around and I didn't read for any book for like the majority of June. I started to read ACOTAR on my Kindle when I was on my Toronto trip, and I was just not in the headspace. I had still like a reading slump, and so a couple of months passed by. July, August, September, and October arrives, and I don't know why I just had the want to pick up ACOTAR and start really reading it. I read it quickly, and then I moved to reading the second one, A Court of Mist and Fury, which is a good one. Third book, fourth, I get why the people like that one, and then I read the third book, fourth, and then the fifth book in that series. I really want to make a video on it. It's like I think one of my favorite. Yes, the romance and the spicy things, but also more. You guys will know if you do read the book. I really do suggest reading the whole series. I think that there's one coming out, a sixth book, but I don't know. Also, I wanted to say that after A Court of Mist and Fury, I hopped on to Audible and read and listened to the 3 last books. But yeah, I think I created a Goodreads account, so if you guys want to go and can follow me over there, I don't know. I'll try to link it and down below. I really love the last book of the ACOTAR series. It's you'll know. I'll do a more like deep dive into my thoughts and opinions with like bullet points because I really love it. Obviously there would be spoilers, so again, I'd let you guys know in the title, but in today's video there's no spoilers. Again, just kind of introducing the books that I've read so far in the fantasy realm. I have seen so many talks and conversations about Throne of Glass, which if you guys don't know, Throne of Glass, the author that wrote Throne of Glass is the same author, the ACOTAR series. The point of views are different than what I'm used to as well, like how it's written. That's why it also took me so long to get into it, because from the books that I've previously read, Colleen Hoover and all, which is like so different than fantasy, which is why I initially didn't really get into fantasy, because I know that the writing style is really different than how I would be used to. But listening to it on Audible helped me so much. I was able to kind of make the images in my head, and kind of as if I was watching a movie but in my head. Don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. So I started the Throne of Glass series. I read the first book and I'm now on to the second book, like maybe halfway through. And I don't know how I really feel about it. I'm liking it, but there's some parts that I'm like drifting away. I don't know if this is common knowledge for reading Throne of Glass, but apparently there's a 0.5 book to read before the first one, the actual Throne of Glass. I forget what it's called, but I discovered that because I had finished reading the first book and wanted to go and read the second book, but didn't know which one it was, so I did research. And apparently people suggest reading the 0.5 book before the first one. I was like, I'm not having a difficult time understanding though, and so that's basically where I am now. So I'll update you guys again. I'm wanting to make more deep dive video on a specific book, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. A shorter one, but one that I really wanted to kind of film and introduce you guys to my love for books. I know I had talked previously about doing book videos and book vlogs and all of that, and I think that doing this video will really help me kind of jumpstart that vision of mine. I know that not everyone is a book person, and that's totally normal. I never really had like a good relationship with books when growing up. I'm French Canadian, if you guys don't know, and the books that I would have to read were in French. And obviously I understand that like French literature is so complex but also so beautiful in its own way. However, I've never been really inclined to pick up a book, even if it's in the genre that I like, ever since I finished like high school, because I don't want to get confused when reading. It's so weird. I don't even know how to explain my relationship with how I understand better in English, but French is my first language and I have more difficulty in French when reading. It's weird, but I'm grateful to have found my love for reading because it's definitely something that gives me more insight on the vocabulary in English, but also knowledge. I've read this quote that says, I like reading because it makes me feel. It does make me feel like as if I was part of a world that is so magical and so beautiful, and it's just, I don't know, I don't really know how to explain it. If you know, you know. If you have been hesitant at starting to read or anything like that, know that that's totally normal. Honestly, I didn't think I would like it. I started by reading Colleen Hoover books, which is so different than where I am now. I kind of fell back in love with reading while reading Colleen Hoover's book, just about like romance, and it's been a beautiful journey to start from there and now be in loving fantasy books, adventure, but also romance still. It's been really fun to kind of broaden my book genre preference. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Again, I'm wanting to do more of a deep dive on the books that I really loved, and kind of maybe also giving you guys my star ratings on the book I've read, just in general, like all of them. Yeah, I hope you guys really do enjoy this new content that I'm going to be bringing to this channel. It's definitely something that I'm nervous to do because I don't know if everyone's going to like it. As much as I am always wanting to make sure you guys enjoy the content that I put out, it's okay if you don't. I feel like that's the way that we're going to be able to grow and maybe find book lovers. If you're a book lover and you're just stumbling onto this video, I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, thank you for sitting down and chit-chatting with me. I hope you guys have a fun time if you do read these books. I love my Kindle. I love reading paperback, but the one method that I've been loving to like read books on is Audible. So I just wanted to let you guys know also like different types of way I've been reading. Yeah, again, I hope you guys enjoy today's video. Whenever you might be watching, like, comment, share the video if you want, and take care of yourself. Tell your loved ones you love them, and never forget to bloom with kindness as well as flourish with mindfulness. Okay, I'll see you guys on the next one. For real now. Bye. This was fun to film. I liked it.